All right, everyone, welcome into the program. I'm your humble host, Earl Hall. We've got a great guest today. His name is Shantell Wright. We were just joking. We both have the same barber. You'll get the joke when we come back on, but we're going to talk about what he's been experiencing inside of the Agent Accelerator program with Arturo Johnson Consulting. We're going to talk about it right after this. All right, everyone, welcome into the show. Thanks so much for being here with us today. This is going to be a good one. You guys have been watching what it is that we do over time, and we have so many of these different testimonials coming out, which we love because it just shows that we're actually able to get people results. And I want to welcome to the show right now, Shantell Wright. Shantell, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
I'm doing pretty good, Earl. I'm doing real good this morning.
All right.
This afternoon now.
Well, I'm sure everybody gets the joke. We got the same barber, so everybody got that joke coming in. But, you know, it's real good to have someone like yourself on. We did interview your partner, Dominique, about 2-3 weeks ago. And so, you know, we got you coming on now just to talk about some of the results you've been having, even in looking at what Dominique's done as well. But tell me, like, when did you get started in the insurance industry? When did this journey all begin for you?
For me, it began in 2009. I was in the mortgage industry from 94 to 2008. We all know what happened.
Yeah.
Well, most of us know what happened in 2007, 2008.
I know.
So I was, someone came to me and said, why don't you do insurance? At that time, I didn't know anything about insurance. I knew that you needed it on your car and on your home. Other than that, I didn't know anything about it.
Wow.
I had partners that I'd lined up with in the mortgage industry to do the P&C stuff for them, but I didn't know anything about life insurance or IULs or whole life or term.
How long did it take? How long did it take you to say, okay, I'm gonna hop into this?
It took me about 3 months.
Okay.
It took me about 3 months to hop into it. Some ebbs and flows. I won't get into the particulars.
Okay.
But finally landed with one company that what they promised on, they delivered. And I've been involved ever since. Transitioned to eventually started my own company about 3 years ago. Dominique and I.
Awesome. How did you two meet? I never asked Dominique that, but how did the two of you actually start working together?
We were actually at the same firm working, and I was working with another agent on one project, and I had a large book of business that I couldn't get to, so Dominique and I partnered up. He was contacting those, and I was running the appointments. So, of course, Monday morning, do the Monday morning huddle, everybody's talking about what the numbers were last week. So we're all sitting together. So they're talking about what me and the other gentleman did, then what me and Dominique did. We combined all those numbers, and in that week, we did $30,000 worth of premium. We was like, well, we're on to something here. So we sat and met, talked, worked out some particulars, and FSC started as a team at a firm. Eventually, we got down to just Dominique and I, and we've been rolling ever since.
Wow. Now, I'm gonna back you up here a little bit. So
Okay.
it took you 3 months to make the decision. Okay, I'm going to leave the mortgage industry. I'm going to hop into the insurance industry. How many times do you have to take a test? Twice. Okay. You know, and that's a common answer. 2 times. But I mean, I've heard people 7, 8 times, and quite honestly, if I didn't pass it after, I did pass mine on the first go round, but if I was on, time 3 and I didn't pass it, this ain't for me, This one ain't for me. Nah. Well, I mean, so you've been in business for, you've had your own firm for 3 years now, right? So tell us a little bit about that. What were the struggles in that you were having, before you even came to AJC?
Well, the struggles that we were having, well, back then, before pre-pandemic, we did a lot. I did a lot of networking events, meeting with folks. I had a book of business. I go back and go meet with clients, generate referrals, things of that nature, and things were going pretty good. Uh, but we wanted to build even more, and so we were doing different marketing techniques and hired a couple marketing people, even brought somebody in that we were grooming. It just didn't work out. The numbers weren't there. The Not only the numbers weren't there, but the more we worked, it was like a little bit like quicksand.
Mm,
The more
okay.
we were, the more we were moving, the more it felt like we were sinking, and we kept putting money in different things. And then the pandemic happened.
Mm.
I actually got COVID
Oh,
and was
wow.
down for quite a while.
Okay.
Uh, so Dominic had to carry it pretty much by himself till I got, because they eventually they thought that I wasn't going to make it out of the hospital.
Well, you made it. So
Yeah,
you
thank
made
God I
it.
did. Uh, and so we were like, we need to restructure and we need to redo some things, rethink some things in the way that we did business before,
Hmm.
because we can't do that now because of the pandemic. So
Talk about that a little bit as far as, what that means. We can't do business like we did it before.
well, what we did is we did a lot of planning. So when we acquired our clients, we would do a full plan for them: be insurance,
Hmm.
uh, savings, debt, paying off debt, investing,
A
and we
whole
work them
fact
through certain.
finder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we were working through certain stages. So we were doing that. So one client would have, maybe we come up with a couple multiple different solutions that we would do them to help them get to where they wanted to be financially, be it retirement, college funding,
Hmm.
all of it all together. Um, so our clients were actually purchasing more than just life insurance,
Hmm.
or looking at different ways to mitigate. If they're a business owner, we mitigate taxes through life insurance,
Did
doing
you do
different.
the two of you have like a Series 6, Series 67, or whatever it is for financial
No, but
planning?
we had partnered up with some folks that did have
Got
those.
you.
Uh, so what we do, so we'd have one client that by the time we get done, the annual premium will maybe about $10,000 to $20,000.
That's a good book of business.
So so but so when the pandemic happened, the way that we were doing, because we were doing workshops.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
do every Saturday. We do a workshop called Wealth for Breakfast. We provide a real breakfast, and then about a
Mm.
45-minute workshop, and then according to what questions they have. Sometimes it'd be 2 hours before we leave out of there,
Wow.
because folks have so many questions,
Yeah.
and we work them through some things. Some folks want to meet right then.
Hmm.
Some folks we set appointments for later.
That was a good business
So
model, but like you said, the pandemic hit, changed the game for everybody. I mean, there are plenty of life insurance agents that in 2020 quit the business because they just couldn't pivot, they couldn't shift
mhm.
to how they needed to. Tell me a little bit about some of the marketing things or stuff that you were doing that you were talking about. It's like, what, this just isn't working. What were those types of things you were trying?
Well, we were actually looking into what we're doing here now with Facebook and analytics and things of that nature.
Hmm.
We're in addition to in addition to what we were doing, we wanted to get that added because we were spreading out. Because at that point in time, we were in about 2 or 3 states.
Okay.
So we were trying to spread out and broaden that and get more of a client base in. But folks were over promising and under delivering.
Got you. So even going back to that, it's like the old business model, like you doing the breakfasts and stuff like. I wish I'd have known about it, because I would have been like, "What time is it?" But I would have bought the kids, everybody. Look, we're going to eat today. But So you were probably doing this in a couple of different states, so you had to even plan that part out as far as how you were going to do those types of events, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the thing that, when you think back, it's like, how did you come to find AJC? What was that process? How did that happen? Or did Dominique find it and say, hey, you got to look at this? Or you found it and showed it to Dominique? How did that work?
No, actually, my fiance showed it to him because it was coming across her feed, and she sent it to me, and I started looking at it. Then it started coming across my feed.
Yeah.
It was Arturo because she actually knows Arturo.
Ah, so okay.
Yeah, so they went to school together.
Got you.
And so we started looking at it, and now I admit, I looked at it because I've been burnt so many times. I looked at it for a while and researched and everything else before we finally pulled the trigger.
How long do you think you had been watching before you said, okay, I'm going to at least book a call?
5 months.
Yeah, it's almost like 3 to 5 months is like the norm for people with this. But I mean, so you watched for 5 months and you booked the call, and on the call you were probably still like, it's, wait a minute, what?
I'm my teachers didn't like me in high school and in college because one teacher told me, he said, the dumbest question is a question not asked. So I always ask questions and I research. So I even researched and went out and talked to some of the folks that were using it.
Yeah. That's normal. People, it is becoming much, because like you watched videos, right? Now you're sitting here making a video, right? So at some point somebody's going to say, hey, Shantell, what's really going on with this? I saw you on a video, talking about this whole thing. And that is, there is nothing better than word of mouth, right? It's like when you talk to someone that is using the system that you're, skeptical about, it kind of makes it a little bit easier, not a whole lot, but it makes it a little bit easier to kind of do that. I mean, you guys have been in since September, started really getting this thing rolling in October. How many leads, do you think you got in the past 7 days or last week?
In the past 7 days, about, I'd say 15 to 20.
Okay. And what kind of AP did you do last week?
$6,706.60.
In 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
In 1 week. How does that set with you? Like, is that good for you? Because I know some people hear that number, they're like, oh my gosh, I wish I'm doing that in a month. This guy just said he's doing this in a week. But how does that sit with you in your overall plan as far as where you want to be and where you want to go? Like, what would you like that number to ultimately be, seeing that you've really only been using the system about a month and a half?
I set high goals.
Perfect.
Always have. 6,000, almost $7,000 is nothing to sneeze at. But I'd like that to be about $15,000 to $20,000 a week.
Yeah. And even now, I'll ask you this question blind. Is that something you can see happening based on what you've seen already?
Yes.
Awesome. It's one of those things where, like, numbers are really relative, right? We have people literally using the same system, been in maybe for about a month longer, they've done $128,000 in a month, right? Where people would love that in a year. But it's like when you have certain goals and high standards, right? And set those high goals, you can start literally reverse engineering, okay, how this is going to happen, right? And like, even with the support, maybe we can talk about that. How have you found the support and the help coming from AJC?
The support has been great. I mean, between Arturo, Kelly, Romel, yourself, and I just met Miss Patricia the other day.
Miss Pat,
Miss Pat's great.
Yeah.
The support is there. If I've got a question, I shoot a text, send an email, I get an answer back. So the support has been great.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. Uh, they're being answered. I couldn't ask for anything better.
How does that compare? And I mean, that is, I mean, our entire focus, we have a senior staff meeting every Friday, and that is the focus. How are the clients? Like, what's going on with the clients? How can we do better if we need to do better in certain areas? Because that is, we are completely client focused. Because Arturo believes, we believe because of his belief that if the client isn't happy, how can we be? So that support is there really for that reason, with that. And have you found that? I mean, you've used a couple of different programs. Like, is the support a big issue for you? Let me ask it that way.
Not with you all, no.
Yeah. No, what I mean is that's important to you. Like, that's an issue that you would like to, yeah.
Yes.
With that. You looked at us for 5 months before you decided to even book the call. Did you come in the program on that call, or did it take you some time afterwards?
It took some time afterwards.
Some time afterwards. Okay. And that's fair, because the one thing that we firmly understand is that this is going to be, well, life-changing. And when you've gone through certain things, like you've gone through other programs and things like that, being burnt one time puts a sour taste for anything that even vaguely looks like what you just did, right? Mm-hmm. And it takes a real certain level of bravery after being burned just one time to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to step out on faith, and because of what I feel, because it is a feeling. And I think people think they make business decisions, but it's a gut feeling. We've had people say, when I ask them, why did you come aboard? They're like, I had a dream. Literally, I had a dream. And I just woke up and I did it. People have said, I prayed about it. I felt God tell me to do it. I felt like I was called to do it. It's like all these things we've heard. And so many times people, they believe that they're making, we want to believe we're making logical business decisions, right? This makes sense for business. But anyone in sales like we are kind of knows people buy based on emotion and they justify it through logic, no matter who we are many times. You're a skeptic like I'm a skeptic about so many things. And we have a lot of skeptics that will be watching you now tell your story and evaluating if they feel that this is real. So, right. So what would you say to someone that's been watching for 5 months at this point, 2 months? What would you say to them about how to proceed to move forward if they're on the fence?
If you're on the fence, here's my advice to you. Reach out to someone like me who you've seen on these videos. Talk to them. Pick their brain. They're going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll do this the same. But I encourage you and implore you, pull the trigger. It's worth your time. It's worth your money, as long as you put in the effort. There's still effort in it. But to get folks who are actually interested in what you have to offer, and they're contacting you, that's what we want. That's what we thrive on in this business. That's what we need. So I implore you, pull the trigger. Go for it.
Man, well, Shantell, I appreciate you. I appreciate the time. I mean, we've been talking almost 20 minutes now. The time has just flown by. But I'm so grateful for you telling your story, your experience, in the life insurance industry, and kind of how you've built to what you've built. And, applause really go out to you just for, being in business for 3 years. Didn't mean to play the laugh track. I meant to play the applause track there. But
now, folks to play the laugh track in my life for a lot. So
but definitely appreciate you, my brother. Glad to have you aboard on the team. And, we're here to support you in what it is that you need. So I definitely want to thank you for your time just doing this with us. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you so much, Shantell.
I appreciate y'all. My pleasure.
All right, and we appreciate you, the listening audience, the people that are watching this video. You know, if you're wondering if this is a move you should make, look, all you have to do is book a call. You can talk to us. You can hear, you know, from us what it is that this is all about. We can answer every one of your questions. We want to know what you're in business to do. We want to know your goals. We want to know the challenges you faced so that we can show you how we can help you overcome them. But we do these interviews every week now, it seems. I'm doing 2 of these a week. But if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you subscribe. Go through and watch these videos. And like Shantell said, go ahead, reach out to some of those folks, all of those folks that are in these videos, because they're going to tell you the truth. Until next time, my name is Earl Hall, and I'll see you on the next broadcast. You take care.